Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kadija and today we're making lemon Oushaar. This particular recipe comes to us from the city of Aden. It is a port city on the southern part of Yemen. I believe that this recipe has Indian origin just because of the spices we are using today, but it's a popular dish in Yemen and it's always acquainted with the city of Aden. So today, in honor of Aden and its people, we are going to make lemon Oushaar. For our recipe today, we will be using the following spices. We are going to toast coriander seeds, fenugreek seeds, the mustard seeds, and normally you would also toast the cumin seeds, but I don't have seeds, I have it already powdered. And then we're going to be using key limes. You can also use regular lemons, but I want to use these. I purchased the lemons I'm using today about a week ago, and I washed the wax coating that's usually are on your fruit and vegetables when you pick them up at the supermarket. I washed it away with vinegar and baking soda, and that's why they look a little dull. And it's been a week since I've done this. I didn't really get a chance to go ahead and make my recipe when I started doing this, but I refuse to throw these away. I think I can cut away the bad parts, and I think it will work. Some of these lemons have tough skin, like this one here. It has a little tough skin, but I think it will work. I think it will be fine. So let's start, and we're going to toast our spices first, and then we'll go from there. We're going to start by toasting the coriander seeds. I'm gonna save this much on the side just so that I can show you what they will look like when we're done toasting them. My impatient self turned around to grab a knife to do some stuff, and the bottom of these spices had toasted more than I actually wanted them to toast. I don't think it's bad. It's darker than I wanted them to be, but that's not an issue. So be careful, put them on low heat rather than medium heat, and then just go from there. These are the ones I just toasted, and these are the ones I saved. You're looking for more of this here. Golden brown, not burnt, not the extra dark right here. No, you're looking for golden brown. 60 seconds on medium heat. That's all it took. These are mustard seeds, and because they are dark, I don't know if I'll be able to tell the color change. So I'm just gonna do 60 seconds. We're just toasting them enough to release some of those oils. So now that we've toasted our spices, fenugreek seeds will go into the pickling jar. Whole, we're not grinding them. So this is what we are going to end up with. Add your coriander, and you're adding your turmeric, and then you add the salt. If I have leftovers of this, I can use it when I cook. It's no big deal. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna cut this. I'm gonna cut this, and the knife is very sharp, so be careful. And then I'm gonna cut the lemon halfway right here, sideways. I'm not cutting it the long way, I'm cutting it sideways. I'm cutting it this way so that I can expose all these membranes. And then I'm cutting it this way, but not all the way through. We are going to leave some skin to hold it together. Do this. Dump it there. Again, I'll cut this part one way, another. If you do not want your cutting board and your countertop to stain, because they will stain from the turmeric, you can do this in a baking tray, or you can cover all of this with saran wrap, or you can do this on newspapers. It's just that I didn't do that for aesthetic reasons for the video, but normally I would do this in a large baking sheet so that I would not stain. I end up with a jar and a half. I have so much left over, and I'm tempted to just dump some of this in. I don't mind at all. If you want a mild flavor, I would say just stop there. This is going to be sealed for 2 months, and I'm adding the spices and the salt right now because in about 3 or 4 weeks, I'm going to open this again and add jalapenos, garlic, and some peppers, and it will still, it'll be useful. I'll film again and I'll show you the end result, but this is what it looks like when we finished this stage. So it's been 3 months since I started the recipe, and this is what the limes look like at this point. It should have more liquid than this, but if you remember, I dumped a lot of spices in here after I finished packing the lemons in, or the limes in. And this is what they look like right now. I'll give you a closer look. I am ready to open them up. If you can see, the mustard seeds that we added in are so enlarged because they absorbed a lot of the fluids that the lemons put off. I am going to need for this next step chili, dry chili that I'm going to wash and clean. I bought 1 bag thinking that would be enough, but in case it's not enough, I just went out and got more. I'm not picky about what chili I want to use for this, just because I'm really still trying to figure out which one I will prefer, but usually you use sweet chili for this recipe. Not spicy. If you do want to make it a spicy recipe, you can slice some jalapeno peppers and add it to the mix, or you can use ground up spicy chilies, or you can use dried spicy chili. But typically for this recipe, you only use sweet chilies or very mild chilies. I'm going to wash the chilies, boil them, clean them to get them softer, blend them, and then add them to this, and I'll take you through the steps. I'm going to start by checking the progress of the pickling process. I'm going to pinch the lemon skin between my thumb and index finger and see if I can figure out if it's soft enough, and yep, it looks soft enough for me to proceed with the process. And if it wasn't, I would have still gone through with this, but I would have left the lemon preserve aside for another 2 to 3 weeks before I start using it. Typically, you'll empty all the lemons into a mixing bowl large enough to also add the vinegar and peppers mix. Since I don't have the option here, I emptied first the lemons. I tried to scrape some of the spices that got stuck to the bottom of the jars by adding some vinegar, mixing everything together, dumping it into the mixing bowl, mixing the lemons, massaging them with the other spices, distribute them equally between the jars before I add in the pepper mix. After I boiled the peppers for about 20 minutes, and I did this in batches, I washed, de-seeded, and I let it sit in a strainer for about an hour before I started the process. I'm going to puree in batches, and I'm only going to use vinegar to help the process. I am not going to use any water. I end up using the 1 pound peppers bag and one of the 3 ounces bag. You don't really have to use this much peppers. I just wanted the lemon preserve to have more sauce than usual because I'm giving away most of this to family members and friends, and I wanted them to have the option to mix in carrots and jalapenos or garlic if they would like to. If you noticed, I started the process by using the spatula to try to sift the peppers through the mesh, and that process took forever. And then I realized that if I used my hand, it actually goes faster. I increased the ratio of the vinegar to peppers while blending, and in this step you can play it by ear and see what works for your own blender, but mine is old and it needed more help, so I added more vinegar at this step. Definitely use gloves. I think I changed my gloves like 6 times during this whole thing. I didn't have someone to help me, so I needed to switch gloves so that I won't cross-contaminate or stain my countertops, and I would definitely recommend laying down newspapers or do this on a surface that you do not mind staining. Do not wear anything that you do not want to stain, and do not use equipment or plates that you don't want to stain. And if you end up with the same mess on the countertop that I end up with, clean as you go. Mix some vinegar with baking soda, scrub it and clean it, wipe it, and then continue your work. At this point, you might taste the mixture after you mix it with your lemon preserve. You think, oh, this is bland, this is not salty enough, this does not have enough spices. Do not spice it or do not add any other things to it until it has had enough time to marinate with the preserve that you made. So I would strongly recommend mixing everything together, let everything rest together for at least a week, taste it, and then add salt and curry or more coriander to taste. It's all up to you and it's up to your preference. Remember the remainder of the salt and spices mix you had? If you had saved it, you can add it at this stage. These preserved limes can take a long time to make and require a lot of patience, but they can be a great addition to your Middle Eastern dishes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you learned something new from me today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you'll be notified when I post my next video. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.